raga, dvesha, so all this special love for your book's favorite and all this. And raga, dvesha, vinivesha, insecurity, fear, who is shaken? All the time world is now living on the verge of fear. Whether coronavirus is there or not, morning to evening when I look at abroad, everyone in their own world walking, every face is so tension and so bag in the laptop bag and the one who traveling in the tube for the namesake, so he is a software engineer or a chartered accountant working for a financial company or working as a consultant. What I look at is every face is so tensed. A lama in Himalayas, on the peak, on the cliff, on the edge. And one step here, if he slips in Himalayas and he is deep down and 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers, he is dead, he is no more. And that lama jumps from cliff to cliff, from edge to edge, on a narrow path, and he smiles all the time. Have you seen in the Tibet, everyone smiles. Have you seen the Bhutan, that's why happiness index, everyone smiles. Do you think they have the luxuries? Do you think they have the education? Because they don't have any of these things, they have a culture preserved, they are fearless. They are so no insecurity, fully secured. The world thinks, we need to, they are very poor people, we need to develop their consumption capacity. Means, if you introduce McDonald's or KFC, something like that over there, so that culture spoiled, you make them consumers, you spoil their culture, and then you feel very elated. In your terms, that you have converted them into diseased now. You produce a disease now. This is your culture. Rock and roll music you introduce, and you introduce, so disc culture, and and rap culture, and you introduce all this culture over there, and then you see, when I go Bhutan also, I will get all these things, It's really developed. Casinos are available. You go to the places where casinos are available, how vulnerable they are, how healthy they are, how happy they are. So just we should understand, So what is our goal of life? The immaturity, so listening is completely gone. Everyone glued. What you are reading is your perception, understand. What you are reading is your perception. So what is not your perception, you should not read, you should listen. You can't read, you should listen. Listening is only the way. And why today children, grey cell areas, white cell areas, prefrontal areas are depleting? Alarming situation today. When their brains are adolescent brains and children brains are examined and the amygdala is growing, a reacting center, it is a peanut size, it is growing. And melatonin, circadian rhythm, which is a rice, a grain, a size of grain, which regulates your metabolism, and it is shrunk. And the prefrontal areas are cognitive, which controls your emotions and which gives you enormous amount of cognitive abilities, is gone. So poor. This is a brain. If I scan your brains, this is how the brain is looking. Brain tells how healthy you are, how vulnerable you are. So reacting. Every word this fellow reacts. Entire world collapses and a yogi doesn't react. He responds to the situation. Understand the legacy of getting trained. So, and when you go deaf, even old age, you go die without listening. If you're lucky enough, again you become a child. So you go first to what goes, hearing or reading? First reading goes. Then you will wear specs. Last thing that goes is hearing. Isn't it? First thing Your birth starts with the hearing, and your life ends with the hearing, not with the reading. So understand the legacy of listening. If you want to really program your brain, communication, phonetics, communication, communicate with fellow beings. The more you communicate, the more you socialize. Communication means making others understand, explain them detail, the logic behind it. Now, when you read a WhatsApp message, people, you can see how impatient. They can't even type complete word. You means you. Why you? You means you. A new language created out of your impatience. And now, a picture, image, and the simple picture, indicate. All this morning to evening communication has shortened down. No one has a patience to type it out, a complete letter, complete word. And do you think it is a good development? It only indicates how your language centers in the mind are completely breaking down. It's not a good sign. And in fact, spellings are gone. When you start typing, the next generation you can imagine. You means he will write simply you. He has already forgotten there is no YOU. All code language. Once upon a time, code language is the gestures. Now images. The language is going to be images. Language is going to be, it's not good. The word has to, communication, shaping the behavior happens, socializing happens only by the sound. And only by explaining. A language means which explains the exact sound. Why Sanskrit? Why English cannot express the emotion completely? It cannot express because it has only 26 letters. Sanskrit has 50 letters. And it can explain any emotion in much more near to the reality. So language, number of letters limits your expression. Your expression, your experience. Language is a serious limitation for understanding experience. Entire learning is experience. So when I am communicating to you, it is the experience of what you are getting it. When you are reading, you are not getting that. So understand, that's how a teacher and a child learning from the mother. Experience. What mother is giving? Learning experience. Experiencing it. Yoga means experiencing it. Pratyaksha. Experiencing it. So, listening and simultaneously experiencing it. So, just when to explain, if I have to explain like this, so you won't like it because now I am worried about COVID, I am worried about exercise, Mr. Kumar, you say. So this we can discuss later, This theory we can, any time we can discuss. Why now, Kumar, One side I am dying and you are explaining about, about the process of living. No one is dying. If you don't understand the process of living, definitely you will die. Isn't it? That's what is happening. The world is dying because of the fear of COVID-19. It is not because of the COVID-19. And the one who is scared, and okay, are you limited to your house? No. And still people are walking out. This is not understanding, So even someone with a COVID patient went to the street and sneezed there. I'm just telling you. 3 hours, those microbes will be floating in the air. 3 hours. Means up to 3 hours, whoever went in that road, and he inhaled all those microbes. Protein molecules. So understand, people may say, when I keep close, I suggested close. And I said antimicrobial. Do you think, Mr. Kumar, so COVID virus is a microbe? It is a protein molecule, It is a molecule, isn't it? That's what I am saying. It is an atom, particle. You consider it as a particle only. It has a cell, lipid membrane outside. Because many of you are very intelligent. So you will have these questions. You never surrender to the teacher. You never consider the one who is explaining is really understood something. You think you are the very smartest guy because who means Google has become your guru, not actual guru. That's your problem. Now biggest problem for the doctors is you read something in the Google and you go and start asking the questions to the doctor. Doctor will shut up your mouth. This is the biggest problem today. So when I explain, it's a protein molecule, do you know? It has a lipid membrane, And what you will do? Taking the gloves? You know what is the close ORAC activity? I told you eugenol, 85% is eugenol only. Every 1 gram contains 9.5 grams. What is eugenol? So how to burn? How to break? How to break the lipid membrane? Peroxidase. Oxidase. Very powerfully. What is peroxidase? Hydrogen peroxide, why people use it? Very powerful oxidant, burns. So what clothes contain? Anything having peroxidase activity, very powerful protecting mechanisms. Honey, when you choose a honey quality based on what? Not glucose, fructose, my dear. It is the peroxidase activity of the honey is very important. Whether that honey is antibiotic, antimicrobial, or whether that honey is anti-allergic, it is really giving you immunity. Honey is meant for immunity, will be only known by its peroxidase concentration. Understand? So someone is saying, anything powerful antioxidant, this is a time and which has the capacity to break that lipid membrane, understand? The lipid membrane of the COVID virus is so weak. There are two ways of breaking it. One is by antioxidant, like peroxidase. Like as I told you already, soap, I told you, alcohol, I told you. What soap does? It reduces surface tension. Once the surface tension reduced, means the density outside is lower than the density inside. Outside is lower than the density inside. It is a fat molecule. Do you know what happens? Fat molecule will try to come out. You put the ghee in the water, what happens? You put the butter in the water, what happens? Butter floats. Why? Butter density is lower than the water. Isn't it? So it comes to the surface. Have you ever seen butter sinking in the water? So your COVID virus is what it is? It is a floating fat molecule. Always comes to the surface. How to break it? If you provide a much lower density than outside, suppose the medium where this is coming out, so this fat molecule is coming out. If you keep much more less fat molecule on the top of it, much more less density, will it come? No, it will break. So, if you provide a less density material, so it is a lipid. What lipid it is having? Cholesterol. A lipid nothing but it has a cholesterol. You can consider. Of what lipids it is having? A 18 molecule heavy chain. Why it is a heavy chain? How can you tell, Kumar? Because below 26 degrees temperature, it is dying, freezing, it is dying. Means its lipid membrane is saturated. You should understand it has saturated fats in its lipid membrane. It is a butter. What it is having around it? Butter coating. Suppose now you keep medium chain triglycerides, very lightweight HDL cholesterol. HDL means, so saturated fats means its size is this much, the molecule. So say when you take the distance between these two, it is about 100 nanometers. 100 nanometers. So this is called LDL cholesterol or saturated fat. That's why your body has to break it. All digestive enzymes, all the lipids, exercise is required or complete relaxation is required to break it to make it a small particle, and so that it can go inside the cell and it can become food for mitochondria through the process called beta oxidation. So if this molecule has to go beta oxidation, it has to become like this. It has to become like this size. And then, so this process is called enzymatic activity. All your enzymes, whether you have enzymes or not. And once this becomes like this small size, then it will be burnt. It will produce 471 ATP molecules. So much energy it gives. So if you give now, so this is what, so your protein molecule is having around it. Now protein structure is known, bilipid layer, so everyone knows COVID virus now, everyone got educated. Its structure is known. What it is having? Very huge size lipids it is having. That's why at 26 degrees what happens? Tell me. So your oil, coconut oil you take, trans fats you take, hydrogenated fats you take. So at 26 degrees what happens in India? India winter means, in Hyderabad winter means, so 26 degrees. Coconut freezes. At 26 degrees it is dying because of the freezing. Means it has saturated fat. Simple, understand. So means body temperature, body temperature 98.74 in heat, the 37-38 degrees, inside is keeping it alive. Because we can't cool down at 26 degrees. How can we cool down? If you cool down yourself to 26 degrees, you will die. Shall we go and sit in the refrigerator and adjust the temperature to 26? Still your body tries to maintain. So let us go and sit in the deep refrigerator, and without anything we will die. Because we have a lot of saturated fat in us. So understand, simply logic, science is all about logic. So these stones anytime, always you should have this. As are many places in your school bag of child lingas of Himalayan origin. Always have them, store them, whatever you can, whatever available for these, you can always plan them for the future to have them. They are the very most powerful lingas that are from Himalayas, like Shankaracharya carried. A kind of this size of linga, or this size of the linga itself, Shankaracharya carried so much of reputation, so much of adoration he got establishing. But now we have different kinds of with excellent, you see, you look at the formation inside, the rainbow inside this one. You look at the you can see the Himalayas over there, exactly like the Kailash you can see, the front portion of the Kailash, the picture which I have sent to you, you can see that naturally it formed, and the rainbow over there on the top. You can see entire like in that, those kind of the special will cost little bit more irrespective of size, but some of the things are acceptable. So it is nature's, it is nothing a man-made, it is all nature's. Tibet, Himalayas themselves are a marvel. They are not from Brazil, they are not from Africa.